Alright guys, so it is Labor Day, and I did a little goose hunting this morning. Managed to get one goose. Picked up our decoys at about 10 o'clock, and of course at 10:30 we had a flock come right into the field while we were loading the decoys onto the ATVs. But I guess that's waterfowl hunting, at least it usually is for me. So project number 2 for the day, I'm getting some posted signs put up. This is agricultural land behind me. You can see my screen that leads up into this field. I have a few little spruce trees that I planted here, but there's my four-wheeler trail that accesses the field over here. So I do have a little gap there. So I just want to make sure there is a posted sign there. Even though this is agricultural land, I don't have to have it posted legally. You cannot go onto agricultural land in the state of Minnesota. But I still put posted signs out because it's just way easier than having any confusion, having somebody, four-wheelering out there, dirt biking out there. I've had that enough times. Or, if somebody were to shoot a deer or something along those lines, I don't have to have any argument about them saying, well, it's not posted, we didn't know, we thought we were okay to hunt here. I just put the signs out and I've never had a problem. So again, it's not something that I legally have to post to this field, but I think it's a really good idea. So I'm gonna get out and get that done. Then we're gonna take a look at the screen. They got this whole field cut and chopped up for silage, so they ran my screen down in one area. I'm gonna put just a little fence across that, and then we are gonna move my portable box blind. So if you're interested in building a box blind that you can actually move around your property pretty easily, we'll take a look at the one I have. Works out pretty well. I can move it all by myself, so we'll go take a look at that too. This is my portable box blind, and I moved this all over my farm. I've had it in 3 different locations now in recent years. My son has shot his first 2 deer out of this stand, so it's kind of nice to be able to move around. And what I'm going to do today, I planted Northwoods plot screen coming out into my field, so I'm going to put this stand right on the edge of the plot screen so that hopefully both morning hunts and evening hunts I can use that plot screen to sneak into the box blind. This particular one is 5 foot by 4 foot, and I did build it just primarily for gun hunting, but I can shoot a bow across the 5 foot directions and then from the back corner diagonally out of the front windows. So it can kind of work for bow hunting too, but mostly a gun stand for me and my son to hunt out of. I have 6 foot stilts on this stand, which for me, the 6 foot stilts are great because I can put them up and down all by myself. I don't need help, I don't need equipment, I don't need a tractor with a bucket to get that stand up in the air. I can stand it up and lay it down pretty easily on my own. I started out with 8 foot legs on the stands, and that adds a whole nother level of difficulty. It is really hard to stand up a stand on 8 foot stilts all by yourself. So for this one, I stuck with the 6 foot stilts, and if you look, I'm out in a wide open field, so really I don't need to be high. I can see across the entire field without being really high. Depending on the topography of where you're at, you got hills or brush or trees that you need to see over, you might have to go higher, but if you're looking to keep it portable, the 6 foot stilts work really well. So I took the chairs out of it, I made sure the windows were all closed up. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the four-wheeler trailer right now. So it's just that easy. I got the stand flipped, put into the trailer. So now we're just going to drive it only about 100 yards, and we're going to put it on the edge of that plot screen. Set up on the edge of the plot screen. We're going to get that stand put up, make sure it's positioned right. I can kind of shuffle it and move it once it's up just by twisting it a little bit, but I think this is where we want it. So we're going to get her set up. stands up. Looks good there. I know we had a little dip here where it flooded, and the plot screen ain't very thick there, so I think putting it right on this edge, I should still be able to get in and out, especially in the dark. So we'll get her leveled up and make sure everything is good, and I'll give you a look around inside of it. All right, so you can see that box blind behind me here, my Northwoods plot screen. There it runs about 200 yards out to the road. So I'll give you a quick look around the blind that I built myself. Like I said, it's light, it's portable, and you can put a heater in it, and if it's raining, if it's snowing, if it's really windy, you stay out of the elements, and it has been really nice for hunting with my son, that's for sure. So we'll come in through the plot screen. I'm probably gonna pound maybe a couple T-posts and just put a little blind material or something on the end there, just so I'm not being seen from the field. Come up the stand here. Come into the stand. It is 5 foot wide by 4 foot across. So it is big enough that out of these windows I can shoot. I just want to show you my window setup because this was what I kind of struggled with. I didn't want to buy super expensive windows. I wanted to do everything myself. So I have these string loops that I loop here just to keep it closed. And when I want to open a window, I grab the other end of the loop, I pull the window open, and I hook it up here on this hook. And my windows are open. Obviously that squeaked a little bit. If you don't want it to make noise, you just kind of manually open it with your hand, and then up top, you grab the ropes, you pull, you open it. And then, yeah, you've got a great bench rest out of this stand. It's a little ways to that wood line, but I can shoot that whole way with my rifle. Back behind me, that pine trees, along the edge of those pine trees, is my turnip patch. So I got a half acre of turnips there, and very often the deer are in those turnips at daybreak, and they can work their way out into the alfalfa, which this is all alfalfa. I'm overlooking this nice little corner here. You can see my Northwoods plot screen all the way around this field. I'm really happy with how that turned out. As long as that stands into the first week or two of November, we'll be really sitting pretty nice. It's you know, it's thin enough that you can just see a vehicle driving on the other side of it, but I think it's thick enough that it's going to give those deer a nice sense of security. Again, this field was just cut on Friday. Today is Monday, Labor Day. It was oats and it has alfalfa underneath, so a couple weeks time this is going to be very green, and I think looking really good for the deer. So that's how the windows work. If you notice the material here, I did not make it out of wood. This is a material, I guess we just refer to it as mill felt. Comes from one of the local paper mills, and it's kind of plastic based, so it does shed water. It is not totally waterproof, but it's light, and if you wrap it on these stands when it's actually a little bit wet, it actually shrinks up and gets pretty tight on here. So the mill felt is my solution to not using plywood. I used plywood on the very first box blind I built, and oh my gosh, heavy. I got it out to where I wanted to put it. I had like a big pulley I was going to put up in a tree. I had a big 3-inch strap that I was going to wrap around that pulley, and I was going to pull it up with my four-wheeler. And I did eventually get it up, but wow, it was a process. I actually had one of the ratchet straps on the stand snap, and the whole thing slammed back to the ground and busted a bunch of screws out that I had to fix then. So that was tough. If you have equipment and you want to build a stand out of plywood, you know, that's great. But if you do not have a tractor with a bucket or like a skid steer or something, it is really tough to get those things up in the air. This mill felt, like I said, super light. If you look at my roof, this is like some old steel that I had laying out back of the farm that they had on one of these hay buildings. And it is really stiff. I know the stuff you buy for putting on roofs nowadays, like if I were to grab it, you know, I can dent it, I can flex it. This stuff's really stiff, so I didn't put any plywood on the roof. I just put the steel on the roof. And then behind me, I painted dark. I don't have any windows on the very back side of the blind. I could put one here if I wanted to, but having windows on 3 sides of the blind does make it really nice where I can kind of tuck in and they don't notice the movement. And it gives me a nice look here of the field. The other nice thing I will show you kind of on this side here is when you are bench resting your gun, and you can put your elbow on the back one and you can rest the gun on the sill in front of you, you are really steady. Like a 300-yard shot, as long as it's not a bunch of wind, a 300-yard shot is very doable. If you're not resting your elbow and you're only resting the forearm of the gun, you still do get a little more wobble. Obviously it's still good and you can still take a pretty long shot, but yeah, if you can have a spot where your elbow can rest along with the forearm of the gun, works out very well. So anyway, here's my box blind. Just some 2x4s. I do have plywood on the floor, carpet on the floor. I did make the door out of plywood, but other than that, the whole blind is, like I said, it's a felt material and it just keeps it light. The 6-foot stilts make where I can flip it up and down really easily. And I still get a real nice view of my entire field. I don't have to worry. Yeah, I definitely like how that turned out. I have this little body of the field down here. Plot screen looks good. Hopefully the deer are going to feel safe coming out down here. If they do come out across the field, that's definitely a long shot. But yeah, I'm just excited. I think this is going to be a really nice little spot this year. As long as we get a little bit of rain, this alfalfa is going to really green up and be nice and short and tender, and I should be able to sneak into this stand. All in all, I think it's a killer setup.